Good evening and welcome to another episode of the TACOsociety Presents. I'm here with Phil and... Oh, look who's here. Sydney.
I'm back.
You're back. It's great to have you back.
Thank you.
How you been?
Okay.
Yeah, we really missed you.
I missed you guys too.
Yeah. Did you enjoy your time?
I did. I just,
Yeah. I know you spent some of it at the beach. You had a...
I did. We had a week at the beach.
How was that?
It was lovely.
Yeah.
Lovely. We have a place that we go to every year, and it's beautiful.
It was fun, huh?
Yeah.
I remember seeing your pictures on Facebook in the past when you've gone.
Yeah.
That's
We
great.
love the beach, and it's a great place. We can't bring the dogs, unfortunately. So they stay with their grandparents, and but yeah, the beach is wonderful. I mean,
Good
I grew up every summer at the beach, so it's kind of like going home.
Like going
for
home,
me.
yeah. Good for you. Now, the last time we were here, your husband Anthony had a emergency,
a tooth issue. Yes,
Yeah.
he has a tooth issue going on. So
How did that go?
It's actually still an issue right now. So he's got a couple of appointments lined up to deal with that.
Talk about horror.
Yeah, yeah. He is not. He does not like anything related to teeth. So,
I don't blame him.
Yeah,
that hurts.
He's nervous. It's much less painful than it was, but it was really bothering him for a while.
Yeah.
And yeah, he's kind of a baby. So
Men being babies?
Yeah.
No.
So don't tell anyone.
Okay.
Don't tell anyone
I won't.
that I said that. Okay.
Well,
I'll just refer them to YouTube.
well, it's good to have you back.
Thank you.
It's fun to have the three of us again.
I know.
Yep.
I missed you guys.
Yeah. There's a lot going on, and we're going to get to our guests in a minute, but we'll just talk about some of the things that have gone on and will go on in the future. But first, Greg Norris got married.
He did. He did.
Yes.
Yay!
He got married to his partner,
Bruce.
Bruce Stevens.
Yay!
Yep. Yeah. Is it Bruce?
Yeah, it's
yeah,
Bruce.
He calls him Brew. So yeah, Bruce. Yeah.
Oh my
Yeah,
God.
I was invited, but I was ill the whole weekend.
Oh.
Yeah, it was.
Oh,
it was
that would have
not
been
good.
fun.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
But,
Greg's an author. He's in
Berlin, New Hampshire.
Berlin, New Hampshire. He's one of the featured authors in your latest.
Oh yes, he is. Pentagonal Sextet. He's one of the feature authors, 5 stories, 6 authors,
Yeah.
and he's one of the authors. Yep. And
Yeah.
Greg is known.
He's brilliant.
Yeah, he's like a powerhouse when it comes to the short story. He's also written for Star Trek Voyager. He wrote a couple of the scripts for that television show, and he's been featured on New Hampshire Chronicle and a number of other things. Yeah.
Nice guy, great guy.
Is,
and
he's a
wonderful
lovely
writer.
person. Yeah.
I can honestly say
brilliant.
I've never read one story by him that wasn't entertaining.
I have to thank Greg for he was the one that got me involved with everybody here. In other words, if I didn't know Greg, then I wouldn't have met you folks because he was the guy that got me into the New England horror writers area where all you folks are from. Yeah, so.
Good.
Yeah.
Moving on from Greg, we tomorrow night there's the Weird reading, and that's in Salem, Mass. And there's a bunch of authors there. By the time you see this, it'll be over. But John McLevine, who's a friend of the show, will be putting that on along with Rob Smales, who was our guest last month.
That's right,
yeah, he'll be reading. E.J. Stevens, I don't know if you know E.J., great woman, fantastic writer. And I'm not too sure about Gregory Adams. When I say I'm not too sure, I've never read any of his work, but I'm sure he's good. And Curtis Lawson and Doug Rinaldi, who's a big player in the New England Horror Writers. Also coming up, another friend of the show, Bracken McLeod. His book Stranded's coming out October 4th.
Yeah, that's right.
And he'll be signing the book. It's going to be in Framingham, Mass. The Barnes & Noble in Framingham, Mass. October 4th, and it's the release date. So that's going to be a lot of fun. I'm sure there's going to be a lot of people going there. Joe Hill, who you saw on one of our earlier broadcasts from Nikon, will be at the Haverhill, Massachusetts Public Library on October 15th. You do need tickets to get to see Joe, so if you don't have tickets yet, I think you're out of luck.
How do you get tickets?
You got to go on the website for the Haverhill Library. They're the ones handling the event.
Okay.
It's actually pronounced Haverhill.
Haverhill.
It's not
My wife,
Haverhill.
my wife tells me that every single time I say, "Are you going to Haverhill?" I go, "All right, all right." And then the big one, October 22nd, is the Merrimack Valley Halloween Book Festival that is put on by the River City Writers Organization, who is Chris Golden and James Moore and E.J. Stevens. That's a free event, and there's, I think, 40-something authors that are going to be there.
Including me and you.
Including you and me, yes.
That's right.
Yes.
Yeah, I feel left out.
It'll be a lot of fun. It's going to be great. And one of the neat things about this thing coming up is they're going to have a lot of special editions, things that you won't be able to get anywhere else. So aside from the regular signings by authors that have their own books, there'll be some special books there you could pick up.
Yeah, James Moore is actually having a collection of short
Halloween.
stories. Yeah,
Oh,
right.
wow.
Yeah, and he's not sure if you can get it anywhere else, but you definitely can get it there.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah. And there's a few other chapbooks that are going to be available from authors.
That's neat.
It's
That's
gonna
a
be
good
a fun
idea.
time.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's a good idea.
Well, it has some, let's name a couple of the, I mean, there's a lot of authors, but some of the big names that people probably know that are just semi-horror fans would probably know would be Brian Keene, Chris Golden, as we said, Paul Tremblay, no relations, right? No relations to you?
We think we're distant cousins, but we're not sure. I like to say he's my twin brother.
There you go. Of course, James Moore, Joe Hill, you said is going to be there because he's going to be there the 15th, but he's coming the 22nd too, isn't he?
I can't remember if Joe's part of this.
Okay, because he was last year.
Yeah.
He was last year. And then, like you said, Bracken McLeod's going to be there, right?
Bracken will be there,
Yeah,
Chris
so-
Irvin. Yeah, there'll be a lot of heavy-duty authors. So if you're into horror, if you're into genre fiction, that's the place to be.
Yeah, and there's another 30 or so that we haven't named. There.
Yep.
Yeah.
One more friend of the show, Patrick Lacey's got a book coming out.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, October 1st, called Dreamwoods. So he hot on the release of Sleep Paralysis.
Sleep Paralysis, another book, yeah.
Yeah, that your group put out.
Yeah, that's
right. He's coming out with Dreamwoods.
Wait, sleep paralysis was one of his?
Yeah, that was Patrick's collection of all his short stories that have been published. Yeah, and Great Old One's publishing released it.
Oh my gosh,
yeah.
I missed
Yeah.
that.
I did the cover, as a matter of fact.
Did you?
That's right, that's right.
Oh, I'll have to pick that up. I
It's a
love
really
his
good book.
writing.
Yeah, it's a fantastic book.
He's such a cool guy, and I just absolutely love his writing.
So he's on a roll, and
I missed a lot.
Kyle Radar, one of our guests, he just had a book that was released.
Yeah, 4 Bullets.
Yeah, 4 Bullets
It's
a month ago.
great book, very good book. I enjoyed that. It's I want to say it's a weird Western without the supernatural weird trappings. It's got a lot of strange things that go on, but it's a great book. It's a very entertaining book.
I actually read a lot of the chapters prior to its release because he read it at my writers group.
Oh.
As a matter of fact, yeah, and it was really good then too.
Yeah.
And now, obviously.
Well, it's even better altogether.
Yeah, exactly, and fully edited and whatnot. So.
Yeah. And the last thing I have is that today is a special day. It's Stephen King's birthday. So
That's right.
we know Stephen King watches this show every month. And we want to say happy birthday, Stephen.
Happy birthday,
Yes.
Steve.
Yep.
Even though the air date is after your birthday, we do want to say we were thinking of you.
Yeah.
And again, we thank you very much for your watching the show
Yes,
all the time.
the support means a lot.
Absolutely, yes. How about you guys? You got anything?
Actually, Rock and Shock, which is the weekend of the 15th, 16th, 17th of October, which is a convention in Worcester. The New England Horror Writers have a table there, and I'll be one of the people at that table signing copies of books as well.
Okay.
So if folks can't make the 22nd in Haverhill, they can meet me at Rocket Shock in Worcester if they prefer.
And what date is that?
That's the weekend of the 15th, 16th, and 17th, or plus or minus a day.
Yeah.
That weekend of October.
And that's a huge convention.
Yeah, it's very big. Yeah.
And that primarily focuses on movie stars, television stars, that type of thing. I don't know who the guests are this year, but they're usually pretty big guests.
Yeah. There's a number of folks that were in Rob Zombie's latest film, 31, that are going to be there. Rob Zombie's from Haverhill.
Yes, I
that's
know
where
he
he's
is,
from.
yes,
So,
yeah.
So a lot of I guess quote unquote B movie actors and actresses.
I think
are there to
William
sign.
Shatner goes to Rock and Shock.
He may have in the past.
Yeah.
George Romero, the director of Night of the Living Dead, was there a year or two ago. Robert Englund, so a lot of big names. Yeah.
Just be prepared to spend some money for some autographs. Anything else, you guys? No? You're working on a few things, but you can't talk about them yet.
Yeah, I've just been laying really low and hanging out with Holden and Gus, you know.
Enjoying yourself.
Well, yeah.
Nothing wrong with that. That's great.
I've been, you know, I unplugged from social media, as you know. I needed to do that for a few reasons, and I've just been laying low, so I don't really have much to add, but I'm glad to be back, and I'll...
That's good. Maybe these cards and letters will stop now, and she's back, okay?
Yeah,
no need to keep writing.
Oh, yeah, right.
Now, Tony, we have two guests tonight?
We do.
Yeah.
Tom Deady.
Yep, he's my guest.
Yeah, he's your guest, and your guest is?
Ryan Convery.
Yeah.
And so we'll meet who they are when they come on. So let's keep the people in suspense for a little bit.
A little bit,
until we
maybe
get
10
them on.
seconds of TV time. We're here with our first guest tonight, Tom Deady. How are you, Tom?
I'm doing well. Thank you for having me.
Oh, boy, it's our pleasure.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, we've been following along with your progress on this book on Facebook, rather, and it's been kind of fun to see it come to be.
It's been a journey.
I'm sure it has. And we're going to find out about that journey in a minute.
Great.
I'm going to read your bio, and after that, we're going to turn this over to you, Sid.
Okay.
And you can ask some questions.
Great.
Tom Deady is the author of several short stories, as well as a nonfiction book on the historic Red Sox 2004 season. Haven is his first novel. He has a master's degree in English and creative writing from Southern New Hampshire University, and is a member of both the Horror Writers Association and the New England Horror Writers. Yay!
Right.
Tom is a lifelong resident of Massachusetts, where he's actively working on his next novel.
Great.
Up to you. Yep, go ahead.
All right. So I wanted to know, what was the first piece you ever wrote? Do you remember?
Yes. Unfortunately, I do.
Isn't that always the case?
Yeah, I think it is. So I grew up a huge Hardy Boys fan when I was very little, so I tried to kind of emulate that formula, and I had about 10 pages of handwritten mystery story that...
How old were you?
Probably 10 or 12.
Okay, that's not bad.
Yeah.
That's cute.
So it was bad. But my first real story was probably done in high school. I remember writing, it was after I had just finished reading Salem's Lot, and I was all caught up in the vampire thing.
Yeah.
So I wrote a vampire story and submitted it to an English class as an assignment, and my teacher was really excited and said, you know, let's submit this to the school newspaper and get it published, and I was like really shy and didn't want anybody to read it, so I never did it. So.
Oh, that's too bad. Did you keep the story?
I wish I did, but I didn't.
Oh, but is that what kind of gave you some good feedback
Absolutely.
and maybe some inspiration and
it
motivation?
definitely did. I'd love to thank that teacher, Miss Camo, wherever you are. Thank you.
See?
Isn't it funny how English teachers, good English teachers,
That's right.
really have an effect
See,
on
I
you?
have a similar story.
I wish I still had the
Yeah.
story,
Yeah. Oh.
but it definitely motivated me.
Good. All right. And do you write full time? And if not, how do you balance writing and working a day job?
I don't write full time, so I balance it by eliminating sleep from my diet for the most part. So
Oh, geez.
yeah.
What do you do? Well, how late you stay up?
Pretty late. Yeah,
11 o'clock?
12 or 1 usually.
Ooh,
yeah. So I work all day. I do the family thing in the evening, and then everybody goes to bed. And it's
And
my
you're
time.
writing.
Yeah.
What time do you get up in the
A lot
morning?
of people do that.
I don't have to get up too early, so I usually get up about 7:30.
Well, at least you're getting 6-7 hours sleep.
Do you have enough oomph at that hour to write? Do you?
At
know?
night, I'm kind of a night owl.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Oh, that's
I do.
good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I could never get up in the morning and write. I can barely get up in the morning and function. So.
Yeah.
Yeah, the night is my time.
You just mentioned your family and taking care of the family stuff. How does your wife feel about you spending all this time at night writing, for one thing, and in general, does she support the hobby? You know, right now it's a hobby, but does she support?
She is amazing. She's incredibly supportive.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah, I put in my acknowledgement in Haven that she believes in me when I don't believe in myself.
Oh, wow.
She
that's
really
great.
encourages me. She almost forces me at times to go to like the conventions and things. So
Does she read your work?
absolutely.
Is she an editor, or is she just a...
No, just a reader, a fan, I guess. But she's always got some good insight.
That was my next question. Okay.
Yeah, she does. She gives me a lot of good feedback, and
That's
you know, I make a lot of changes. So.
How about your kids? How old are they?
So I have a little Brady Bunch thing going on. I have 2 grown daughters from my first marriage, and then I have 2 stepsons.
Now, do they read your work?
Not yet. No. My daughters do. My stepsons don't.
What do your daughters think?
They want me to be successful so they can ride my coattails and not have to work. You know.
Of course they do.
Now, do they ever say, why horror? Couldn't you write something like a
No,
romance?
they know me.
Or
No, they don't have to ask. They know.
Have you always liked horror? Is it always been-
Forever. Yeah.
Since you were a young kid.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Wow.
I've been just a horror fan forever.
Good for you. Yeah. Sounds like us.
Yeah.
I think it's a thing. Either you have it or you don't.
Yeah. So speaking of your daughters riding your coattails, what was it like to publish your first novel and to boot with Cemetery Dance? I mean, Richard Chismar is one of the biggest and most respected names in the industry. So how did that come about?
I think it was a huge right time, right place thing. I had Stuart O'Nan read my manuscript when it was done.
Yeah,
great author.
That is great.
That goes back to our Red Sox days. So he wrote Faithful with Stephen King about the 2004 season.
Yeah.
And I actually interviewed him in 2005 for my Red Sox blog. So I kind of stayed in touch with him over the years. And when I finally finished the manuscript, I asked him if he'd read it and just either tell me it sucks or tell me it doesn't suck.
Yeah.
He ended up actually basically line editing the whole manuscript and sending it back to me. It was incredible. So as soon as I had all the edits made, literally the same day, like I got a message from Cemetery Dance, hey, we're open for submissions, which they're never open for submissions. So I sent it in. It had the blurb from Stuart, and I really think that's what caught their eye, because I know they worked together in the past.
Good
so
for you.
Brian Freeman got back to me and said, Richard wants to read it. And here we are.
Let's talk about Haven. What's it about?
It's basically a small town kids versus a monster type story. So there's a lot of subplots, obviously. Brevity is not my thing. I have a lot of character development and backstory for a lot of the characters. It's what I love to write. But basically it's a monster that lives in a lake and kills people. And
A monster that lives in the lake.
yes.
A small town lake.
Small town lake.
And what kind of, is it a water monster, or is it a Yeti? What lives in the lake? Is that a spoiler? Or is it?
Well, kind of, but that's
Okay,
fine.
all right, then
No, it's fine. It turns out it's a genetically engineered monster.
Oh, okay.
So I did a lot of research on recombinant DNA and gene splicing and all kinds of fun stuff to try and keep it as realistic as you can keep a monster story.
Did it scare you?
There were scenes I wrote that I think if I read them would scare me, but because they were coming from, I don't know if you can actually scare yourself writing.
I think you can.
Okay.
I think you can, yeah.
Then I guess I didn't.
Yeah. Well, I think that's
Maybe
it for
in
the
your
interview.
next
All
one.
right. Epic fail. Thank you.
Go ahead.
Let's see. So we both live close to where the famous Salem witch trials took place, and in the story, a witch's curse condemns the town of Haven to suffer a tragedy every 17 years. So, do you believe
That's cool.
in? Yeah. Do you believe
of backstory.
in witchcraft or the supernatural? And do you think one has to in order to love horror?
I don't think one has to, but I let me say it this way, I want to believe in the supernatural. It gets hard at times because you see all the reality shows and they never find anything, right? All the ghost
The
hunters.
haters, all the haters.
But yeah, I'm very fascinated with the whole witch trials and all that. That's why I felt like I had to at least mention it. Someday I'd like to do a real witch story. I just think that whole piece of history is just
It's interesting how you combine folklore with DNA, which is modern day science.
Yes.
Yeah.
And that's what I try and take something very unbelievable and add some believable facet to it.
Yeah, there's the character development and the subplots in the book are written very, very, very well.
We get time for one more question.
All right, so will we see the characters of Haven again in the future, and what's in store for your future?
I think you will see at least a couple of the characters again. I know you've read it, so I know there was a character who kind of disappeared at the end.
Yes.
I think we'll see him again.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
Wow.
I think so.
Well, you're working on your next novel, so so are you saying you think we will?
No, I haven't got there yet.
Okay.
No.
All right.
So I have my second novel coming out early next year.
Oh.
That's a vampire story.
Oh, cool.
And
Going back to high school.
You know, it's funny because scenes from that horrible, terrible story I wrote in a better format, I hope, end up in that
Good
story.
for you.
Yeah.
Nice.
And I have a couple other manuscripts in the works as well.
Great.
Great.
You got something to read for us.
I do.
Yeah, be more than happy to hear that.
Yeah,
I
very
will
cool.
start that. So it's near the end. I don't want to give away any spoilers, but just to kind of set the stage, the two protagonists, Denny, who's a 12-year-old boy, and Paul Graymore, who was suspected of some of the murders in the small town.
That the monster did?
The monster actually did, yeah. They end up trapped in the tunnels, which is kind of the lair of the monster.
Okay.
And they're trapped down there alone, and they have a little bit of dialogue here. So I think it's a good scene to read. After a few minutes, Denny began to feel drowsy. Then he jolted, returning to full wide-awake state from that mystical place between consciousness and sleep. He was half dreaming about being in his basement, but here he was, huddled against the damp wall of the cave. In the impenetrable darkness, his sense of hearing seemed heightened. The sound of his and Graymore's breathing was like twin steam engines chugging up a hill. I think I can, I think I can. Then he didn't know whether to start screaming or start laughing. He wasn't sure which would be a sign of insanity. The only other sound was water. There was water running somewhere nearby, and water dripping all around. It was maddening. The sudden light made Denny gasp, then squint against the brightness. Graymore had flicked on his small flashlight and pointed it down, so a small halo of light illuminated both of them instead of shining on one and leaving the other in darkness. He noticed Graymore was looking at him, his expression hard to read, partly because of the strange combination of light and shadow, partly because of Graymore's disfigurement, mostly because his expression was one Denny could not evaluate. Denny swallowed hard, trying to think of something to say to fill the void. I think I can, I think I can. What should we do? Graymore continued to stare at him, a hint of a smile playing on his face now. Not much we can do. We'll wait here for a bit, rest, then we'll find our way out. His smile faded into a grimace as he changed position. Denny's gaze fell on Graymore's shoulder and the widening dark stain. Paul, you're hurt. Paul nodded, not even dignifying his wound with a glance. It's fine, the bullet went all the way through. I felt the exit wound on the back of my shoulder. Muscle damage and some pain, but the bleeding isn't as bad as it looks. Denny shook his head slowly. Paul had been shot, and he was talking about it like he got a splinter. His admiration for the man swelled. It was an alien feeling, but one that wasn't new, just dormant. He realized he hadn't felt that way about anyone since his father was killed. As much as a wounded Graymore should have made Denny worry about their chances, Paul's strength filled him with renewed confidence that they would eventually get out of this. The thought of waiting it out was only slightly more inviting than just trying to get out. He was scared. As much as he fully believed Graymore was not the butcher, did not kill kids 17 years ago, and did not kill anybody since getting out, it was all the easier to believe the opposite sitting in a dark cave alone with him. Did you ever kill anyone, Paul? The question came from nowhere. It never really entered Denny's mind to ask, but there it was, popping out of his mouth. And surprisingly clear, no quivering or shaking or stuttering, like he was asking for the time. Graymore's eyes shifted, not his gaze or direction, but his eyes. His slightly bemused expression was now gone, replaced by something else, not something scary, but more wistful, remorseful. Yes, Denny, I have, but not who you might think.
Wow. Excellent.
Yeah.
Now this is going to be released when?
Halloween, fittingly.
Halloween.
Yes,
Okay,
it is available for pre-order now, but it will ship on Halloween.
Excellent. And that's through Cemetery
That's a
Dance.
great date.
Through Cemetery Dance as a limited edition hardcover to be followed by an ebook later.
Excellent. Yeah.
Yes.
Boy, we wish you all the luck in the world with this.
Thank
don't
you
we?
so
It's
much.
a great book.
Thank you.
It's a
I
great
appreciate
book.
that.
And I'm so glad I found you on Twitter.
Put so much of it into it, of myself into it. I'm glad you said that. Thank you.
Yeah, it is fantastic.
Yes. Thank you very
Thank
much.
you, Tony.
Yeah,
And
thanks
hopefully
for
you'll be
being
back
my
when your
guest.
next.
Thanks for being
Thank you.
my
Yes.
guest.
Hopefully
Happy
you'll
to
be
be
back
here.
when your next book comes
I'd
out.
love to.
Yeah.
Great.
Yeah,
Thank you.
definitely.
Well, again, thank you. That was Tom Deady, and we'll be right back with Phil Perron and his guest. Hey, welcome back for part 2 of tonight's episode of the Taco Society Presents. We're here with Ryan Convery. Welcome.
How are you?
Yeah.
Ryan, it's good to glad to join us.
Ryan's Phil's guest tonight. I'm going to read a short bio, and then I'm going to turn it over to Phil, and you can ask him some questions.
Sounds good, yeah.
For the past 13 years, Ryan has produced and edited videos for both film and television. Some of the TV shows he has edited include the New England Patriots. Yay, go Patriots. And that includes All Access, Totally Patriots, and Patriots This Week. He also specializes in producing corporate videos for a list of clients that include Steve Magnate. Is that say
Steve
that?
Magnati.
Magnati.
Yes.
And that's the Barrett Jackson auction. He's also done MIT, Da Vinci Arms, Life is Good, and Pro and Racing. Ryan recently worked as a camera operator for the Huffington Post video series entitled New Hampshire, which showcased the New Hampshire presidential primaries. Welcome.
Well, thank you for having me.
Yeah, it's a pleasure.
That's good stuff. Did you write that?
No,
I didn't.
No, he wrote it.
Oh, that's
was
right.
like-
I
I was
took
like,
it
man.
off your bio. I forgot. I took it
I
off
was like,
the
wow,
website.
there's a lot of stuff on it. I got to change that.
It's great.
Go ahead.
Yeah. Well, the thing that's interesting is that we mentioned a lot of the stuff that you do for the corporate world, for the New England Patriots, whatnot. But you also are a filmmaker and make horror films and things of that nature, which is one of the reasons we brought you on, is because you do screenwriting and things like that. And a lot of our audience are interested in not just horror films and horror books, but also the screenwriting and so forth. So let's talk about some of the things, which is how did you get into filmmaking?
Me and my friends, we would just get together after school sometimes. We'd just grab the camera and just start shooting
The
random
Super
stuff.
8 back then, or I mean, what,
Mini DV tape.
okay.
Yeah, so it's, compared to the picture quality today, it's like this big, and it's like this big now. But we would, we didn't, the funny thing is we would never write scripts, and that was a big part of our problem. One of our friends would be like, we got to write stuff, we got to get more organized to shoot this stuff. And I was always like, no, we just have fun with it.
You improvise.
But it made more sense. I mean, script writing is huge. You got to start on paper and grow from there.
Yeah. So did you make movies in the beginning? I mean, not commercial movies, obviously, but did you have little 10-minute things, 15-minute movies that you would make and show to people?
Yeah, the first thing that we did was a college project called Treasure Island. It's where I really got hands-on experience with shooting and editing.
Oh, okay.
We had to, so the project was I had to do something that screams Treasure Island. So I asked the guy, I was a video animator, I went to school for animation.
Oh, okay.
And then, but before that I went to school for special effects makeup out in LA. And then I moved back here and went to animation school. But I was like, we should, maybe turn Treasure Island into maybe a bloodbath. Something like that.
Makes
right?
sense.
Right.
Yeah.
So we went out on the weekends and all my friends, we actually watched Muppets Treasure Island to kind of get like a good idea of like where to go with it. So we made a 10-minute short with Treasure Island. We all dressed up as pirates, and we were in the middle of the woods. The cops were called on us because a guy thought we were killing animals.
Oh,
They thought we were like part of a cult, but we were just pirates. He didn't see the camera, so it got really weird. But we were in the news and everything. We were like, this is really cool.
That's promotion.
Yeah. But everybody. It was the funniest thing was that when I showed the class in college, they didn't know anybody. They just knew me, none of my friends, but they all laughed. You know what I mean? They all got really excited. They enjoyed it. They thought it was really good, and I was like, it's really not that good. But then I guess that like really made me say to myself, oh my God, other people enjoy what I'm doing, so maybe I've got something here. So we just kept going from there.
Yeah. Now, you brought up the screenwriting part because at first, as a young filmmaker, you just grab a camera and just have fun. But let me ask you this. Obviously, filmmaking is an important part of your life. However, where does screenwriting fit in now for the stuff that you do?
Well, I've got a friend who is big into screenwriting. I mean, he does it by the book. So whenever I give him something, he's like, because I just do it. You know what I mean? Like I try to go by the book because screenwriting is very particular. Like there's a format to it all.
Right.
You know, and if you don't have it formatted right, when you're doing it on screen, it doesn't like
Translate well?
It doesn't translate well. Exactly. Like you see one page of dialogue, that's supposed to be roughly about a 1 minute. So you can tell, like, if you have an 80-page script,
It should be 80 minutes.
yeah, you can tell it's going to be about 80 minutes to, like, so I mean, that's why the script is so important. And I never understood that back then. But then, you know, I learned that, you know, script writing is very important, just doing everything. And, you know, script reads too. Getting people together and actually saying it out loud to really...
So you had table reads where you all sit around.
Yeah, and I mean, then you're like, oh my God, this does not sound good. Or yes, this is really funny, you can tweak stuff here and there. But...
So that developed after you got going a little bit
Yeah.
and said, hey, I got to make this more professional. I got to make this sound like we know what we're doing.
Right.
And then you started doing the table reads and following the manuscript a little bit.
Yeah.
I mean, the way to do it.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean,
Yeah.
I don't know
Well,
what
let
else
me,
more to talk about.
let me ask this question because that may focus where you were going. Basically, the story or tale you tell in a film is the key to a successful film because you can do a film, but if the script is terrible, forget it. You know, no one's going to watch it. It's going to be panned and whatnot, and then you'll never have a career. No one would ever want to take. You know, especially if you plan to do anything bigger. How do you go about your screenwriting? Do you ever start with like a short story, or do you write a novella or something, and then try to translate that into a script, or do you start right off the bat with just a story and just play around with it with your friends at a table or something?
I mean, I have multiple scripts where I've gotten to a certain point and I'm like, I don't know where to go with it, and I've thrown it. And I've got multiple scripts like that where it goes to like page 30. And the problem is that like my first movie, I had no money when I made the movie. It was a labor of love. All my friends, we just did it together. But the thing is that once I started writing again, I'm like, how can I do this with no money? So I started limiting my writing. You know what I mean? So you don't
have big special effects and
well, you can say, what can I pull off, or what would I like to try to see if I can actually make this work? So when you're a filmmaker with no money, you kind of like limit yourself when you come to writing. So it's kind of
Well,
it starts changing.
Interject for a second. I've heard from other screenwriters, from commentaries on discs that I watch and whatnot, that they write the screenplay based off of the budget. So in other words, if you want to have a big scene at Times Square, you're never going to get New York to allow you to do that. So you're not going to use Times Square. You're going to use the town or some yokel town.
Well, that's one of the things that they always say. They say just write it and then figure it out later. We'll figure it out. I mean, you can do so much with nowadays. You know, I mean, you can put a green screen and do stuff that was
that's a good point.
You know what I mean? Just so now you just kind of just go for it, I guess. I mean, that's the best way to.
How many movies have you made?
3 full length.
Wow.
Our recent short film, we knew a stunt driver. So that's the other thing. You try to write for what's there for you.
Right.
So like, I could shoot in the school. Well, let's write a scene for a school. Or, well, we have a stunt driver who can flip a car after hitting it off or going off a jump. He can flip a car and land. And we shot a short 1 minute.
And you put it in the script.
Yeah, and that was it. It was just 1 minute short. It was just like he just gets in the car, flips it, and he goes, "I'll take it." It was just that's all it was. It was. I mean, just doing stuff like that, it gets you better as a filmmaker too. I mean, the more you shoot, the better you are. But as good as your script can be, if you don't have a good camera guy, a good lighting guy, the right actors, and a good audio guy, it doesn't matter how good your script is.
Yeah.
Everything is.
Yeah.
As good as, and I mean, that's why half of these movies that are like, why was this movie so good? It's like, holy, they had a perfect storm. Everybody was doing their job. You had like
perfect storm.
You had a great group of people.
Yeah.
It's never just the
one item.
the script, right?
Yeah, yeah.
But I mean, some people can take a crappy movie like Van Damme, for instance. Mm-hmm. Do you ever hear the story of Bloodsport?
No.
Bloodsport was shot. The company didn't like it. They thought it was complete garbage. So he's like, no, let me sit down with the editor. He sat down with the editor and made it into that, and they loved it. And
the same thing with the Woody Allen movie, Take the Money and Run.
Yeah.
How about that?
Yeah, it was all cutting, and that's how they made the movie.
Yeah, I mean, so there it goes again. Without
the editor.
The editor, there's another thing. I mean, it's just.
We're running low on time, so I'm going to push us.
Right. Now, many independent horror films seem to fall into the trap of using juvenile comedy.
Yeah, I do too.
Yes. Well, that's what I wanted to ask you. Is that a lot of after they do that, they try to move on and get better films. But however, to avoid such tropes, what do you do within your writing to keep that temptation at bay?
I'm a big Kevin Smith fan.
Okay.
So, we do go for that crude humor a lot of the time, but we try to do it in a way that you've never seen it before. So we try to get creative with it. So if it
Works
it's
with
not
Seth
this.
Rogen.
Yeah, it does. I
Yeah.
mean, it's weird how many movies he can make, and some of you're like, well, that's different. He goes with a different approach to it.
Right.
Why horror? I mean, do you do a lot of horror?
I do, because a lot of people, the Patriots, I work with them, they're like, why do you do the horror? It's because the reaction that you get, like, everybody's not going to laugh at your joke, but if I can make your head explode, I'm going to get a reaction out of somebody. They're either going to laugh, they're going to cry, or they're going to be mortified. But
So it's instant gratification.
it is, and it's like a magician. You know what I mean? Like, how can I make your head explode? Whether it looks goofy or not, I still did it. It is fun. It's the best part about it.
Now, what have been influences for you? Books, movies, things like that.
Peter Jackson's earliest film.
Oh yeah, those crazy ones. Yeah.
Yeah, he made this movie called Bad Taste. Aliens come down. And,
remember?
Yeah, Bad Taste. And like even Sam Raimi's Evil Dead. I mean, when you hear the stories of what those guys did to make those movies.
Well, you talk about editing. I was just talking about the Evil Dead the other day. What made that movie so good was the editing. Taking that camera and putting it at ground level as he goes through the forest, you feel like you're there.
Yeah.
It's not an overhead shot. It's not even a chest shot. It's down on the ground, and you're moving. I mean, you're going whatever that monster.
And all they did was they took a piece of plywood and they put a camera on it, and the guy went like this through the woods.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just simple stuff.
Yeah. But it worked.
It worked. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
I mean, Robert Rodriguez, same thing. His first movie, if you watch that, you're like, this guy did it on a VHS editor. 2 VHS tapes. You went play, stop, play, stop, play, stop, and that's how he edited the whole movie. And that's still the way it is. I mean, it's crazy.
Yeah.
Smart people.
We got time for one more question.
Yeah. Oh, all right. So your future. What do you plan to do? Anything bigger productions? I want to, before you leave, you can let us know the titles of your films that you've done and where they can get them. But what are you planning to do next?
Well,
do you have any films up and coming?
Yeah, I mean, right now we're working on a horror script actually for the first time in a long time. But the biggest thing right now is the fact that I know once I get myself into a full-length feature, I don't have time for anything else. My life's over. You know what I mean? It's just you're just working around the clock when you have no money, and you can get a group of people, but
it's guerrilla filmmaking.
It's guerrilla filming, and like when I'm usually shooting, I'm usually editing, I'm usually up all night. Like with the last movie I made, I didn't sleep the entire week trying to edit it, cut it down, and I didn't sleep the night before. And the premiere for me was awful. It was still good, but I just had a bad headache. I could hardly focus. I mean, you put a lot into it.
Yeah.
And that's the thing. It's like if you want to be a filmmaker, well, guess what? If you
actually
have a life, then you're not making a movie right. That's what it comes down to.
So, as Phil said, what are some of the titles of your movies? Where can we get them?
The first full-length feature that we made was called Morning Wood with a U. It's a zombie comedy movie. The second one was Joy in the Apocalypse, which was a drama film that went straight to, my TV. It actually premiered on Saturday Night Matinee.
Oh, that's cool. Yeah.
And what's funny about Joy in the Apocalypse, next year a movie called Finding a Friend for the End of the World came out like a year later, and we're like, this is our movie. Like, this was almost our movie. Yeah. Same thing happened with Morning.
That had big stars in it too.
Yeah, there was a movie called after Morning Wood. There was a movie called The Taint. Had the same concept. These guys just did it better than we did. So
and more money.
And more money. And the idea to it. The third movie that I did was How I Dumped My Ex-Boyfriend's Body. And
good title.
Yeah, it's a comedy movie. It has not really elements of horror, but it's just more or less fun with a dead body. But it's one of those things where whenever we made it short and made it full-length feature, for some reason Hollywood was right there with us. So I'm saying to myself, all right, we're in the right spot. That if we keep doing it, then
you just need a break now.
Yeah,
you need a big break.
Yeah.
Now, tell us that quickly. Tell us that story about when you were doing a film and they thought you were killing people in a hotel room.
So How I Dumped this always happens to us. How I Dumped My Ex-Boyfriend's Body. We were in a hotel. The girls were going over their lines. We were packing up the cars, and the person in the hotel next to him heard them. How are we going to get rid of this body? Blah blah blah. The cops were called because they thought we were actually getting rid of a body. Cops spent the entire day trying to find us. They finally figured it out by going on Facebook. That's how they figured it out.
Yeah. So Fatfoot Films, right?
Fatfootfilms.com.
Great.
Yes, thank you for that. That's Fatfoot Films is my company. So
Thank you very much, Ryan.
Thank you.
It was enjoyable talking to you. It's a lot of fun.
All right, right.
yes, thank you, thank you.
Excellent. Appreciate
All
it.
right.
Well, that was a pretty interesting show tonight.
Yeah, it was fun.
Yeah,
it was
both
good,
our guests were pretty good. It was kind of nice talking to Tom. I mean, I say kind of nice. I haven't really talked to him before, but I've
Yeah.
seen him on Facebook.
Yeah.
And when you talk to somebody face to face, you get a whole new appreciation for the
Yeah,
person.
I didn't even know he existed until tonight.
Oh, really?
Yeah, to be
Oh.
honest, yeah.
Yeah, he says he's a little shy, and hopefully the show and talking to us will get him out there and introduce him to more people.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
His last name should be pronounced Deady.
I joked about that, but he probably hears that all the time.
That would be entirely more appropriate.
Yeah. And Ryan was fun too.
Yeah, Ryan's a great guy. I met him 3 months ago at another convention I was at, and I said, hey, he'd be a good guest for tonight. So
Yeah.
I never knew he existed until
yeah, there you go.
tonight.
There you go. Yeah. So,
Wow.
and he's on Facebook as well, so folks can always meet both of them on Facebook.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it's a first for a lot of first for you coming
Yeah,
back too.
It was,
It's-
yeah, it was great
Yeah.
meeting Tom. He
Yeah.
was a really nice
Both guys
person.
were good. Yeah,
Yeah.
they're both fun interviews. And like I said, it's great to have you back.
Thank you.
Jeez, I mean, Phil was complaining a little bit, but I told him to
bet.
calm down,
I bet.
relax.
I bet you didn't want me to come back.
No, I was complaining that you didn't show up.
Oh,
Yeah, so it was the other way around.
Got out of that one pretty easy.
Yeah, I mean, this guy's trying to throw me under the bus or something. I was like, what's up with that? Jeez.
no, I'm sorry, and I am glad to be back.
Oh, well, we're glad to have you back. That's great. We're glad Anthony's doing better, and hopefully he'll get that problem fixed once
Yeah.
and for all.
Yeah, I know. I'm sick of hearing him complain about it.
I'm sure you are. As I mentioned, we'll be out and about in the coming months. October 22nd is the big one where hopefully you'll be there too. But
I know.
at least two of us are there. Hopefully all three of us will be there.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
And we
And
look
that's at the Haverhill Public Library.
at Haverhill Public Library. And
Yes, Haverhill, yes, that's right, that's right. Yeah, and I'll be at Rock and Shock in Worcester, so,
Yep.
which is the middle of October.
And our next show is in October. I think it's actually before the 21st, isn't it? I think
No, it's
after?
the 22nd, I think.
No,
No,
because
that's
that's a
because that's a
Saturday.
weekend, yeah.
Wait.
Yeah.
Oh,
Must be the 20. Maybe our producer can take a look
he's
and
looking right now.
yeah.
19th?
19th.
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 Yeah.
Okay, so it is
Yes.
before
Oh,
then.
that's right.
Okay, so
yeah.
that our show will air sometime around the 22nd
Mm-hmm.
then. Good. And in the beginning of November, we're going to have the New England Horror Writers in here talking about their latest release, Wicked
Witches,
Witches.
something.
Wicked Witches.
Wicked Witches, that's
Yeah,
right.
yeah, which I'm not a part of. Just-
Yeah, I didn't submit myself.
Yeah.
I just didn't have time to write.
Well, they got a great lineup, and it sounds like it's going to be a good book.
Yeah, yeah.
So we'll find out more about that.
I think, yeah, so some prior guests
Yep.
that we have
Yep.
in there, that,
Yep.
matter of fact. Yeah.
Yep, we'll get into that a little bit more next month.
Very good.
So thank you, everybody. Again, our next show will be before Halloween, so we don't have to say Happy Halloween. But we do hope you enjoyed the show and hope to see you next time.
Yeah.